world where achievements and accolades motivate us to do more and be more, we're often left wondering, is this really it?
Deep inside, you know there is more to life. You're ready to leave behind the old, push your way through, and claim the deeper life that's calling you.
That's where we excel.
We're your hosts, Stephanie Allen
and Maren and
and this is the Soulful Leader Podcast.
Sit back and relax as we share the shortcuts we've uncovered to help you make shift happen. Welcome to the Soulful Leader Podcast. This is Maren and I'm here with Stephanie. And often as leaders, we have so much that we have to do. Like we got the laundry list. We wake up in the morning with our to-do list of like, I gotta get this done and this done and this done. And I wonder how often we've actually asked ourselves, what on that list is truly ours to do? And I'm not talking about from the delegate perspective. That's important. Don't get me wrong. That, and a lot of leadership people talk about that of like, you need to be able to delegate. And yes, you do. I'm talking about from the deeper space of like, why you're here on this planet. Yeah, little tiny things we're going to talk about today, right? Let's pull out the big guns. Like, what on that to-do list has to do with why you're here on the planet?
Yeah, because I think a lot of times we can put a lot of things on the to-do list that distracts us from that deeper question.
Oh, yeah. Keep us busy.
Right. And distracted and feeling like we are so busy that we are important.
So the thing that I've really noticed about that, though, is that we never truly feel important. We do all those things and we keep it's a chase game. It turns into a chase game because there's always the next thing, the next accomplishment, and we keep chasing. And it's interesting because spiritually, the Sufis say that go after all of it. Like go try and achieve all of it, because at some point you'll realize you've achieved it all. And it's not actually, none of it is meaningful. It's not like there's still an emptiness.
Yeah, it's not bringing you sustenance and joy.
Right.
Because I think we're chasing something so that we feel like we're enough, that we feel we've accomplished something. So we reach this state of excellence, or, I mean, the big term is, your human potential, like reaching that. And that seems like there's something outside ourselves to reach towards. And sometimes there is. And I do love that the Sufis say, yeah, go for it, because you'll get there and then you'll realize, oh, this is it. That's all there is. I'm still empty. I'm still like, now what? And that's an important question. Like, now what? Or who are you meant to become? Is a deeper, more an inward question. And I, in a world today where the pandemic has left us lonely, so lonely, and isolated, that I think we're hungrier than we've ever been. And in that, what I mean by that is like the hunger and the not knowing evermore. It's like what I thought to be true is no longer satisfying me anymore. So
yeah,
now
the
what?
old paradigm of what I think of as my parents' paradigm, that if you get a job with a corporation, you'll work your lifetime, you'll get a pension, you'll retire, and that's kind of the ideal, like broad brush strokes. And that obviously has changed over the years. And then I think the pandemic made a huge shift, like even the next iteration, which was maybe not working for somebody else, but I'll work for myself, I'll become successful, I'll create my own IRA. And all of a sudden then like the pandemic hits and IRAs are wiped out.
Oh, exactly.
And you have no job and you have no, it's like the old paradigm isn't working. And to go back to the Sufi saying of like, yeah, achieve everything you can achieve, because you'll find out that that's not where the satisfaction actually is.
So where is the satisfaction?
So where is it?
Right.
And Right? Do you have to do you have to take the long route of trying to achieve all of that? Of like doing this is what I said at the beginning of we wake up with our to-do list, and how much of that to-do list is literally ours to do. The
Yeah.
stuff that will give us, what I mean by that is when we're doing what's ours to do, we will find the meaning.
Hmm.
We that is the route to the satisfaction. That is the finding the true gem inside and being like, oh, and being able to rest inside.
Yeah, because what you're saying, it's not even so much what we're doing, it's who shows up and how we are doing it. It's, and why we're doing it. It's
So
like if we haven't explored those other questions to go deeper, then it's
right.
just
So I
one more
want you
thing on your to-do list.
to talk about that, because when like somebody in the audience might be like, mean like, what do you mean who shows up? You mean my plumber? Did they show up? When you say who shows up, you're talking about the
Yeah.
inner who. So talk to us about that.
Yeah. So, here's interesting. I, work a lot with trauma and addictions in my practice. And I'm talking about my actual business practice as well as my spiritual practice. But I was speaking with someone the other day, and they were sharing about how they were struggling with both their children and their grandchildren suffering from addictions.
Mm.
And they didn't know what to do. Like, they've been giving them money, they've been trying to rescue them, which is essentially what we would call in the 12-step program enabling. And it was constantly distracting her from taking care of herself, this mother grandmother. And she was suffering with huge amount of pain in her body. And I said, maybe the pain is giving you permission to ask for help for yourself, to
Mm.
stop and actually surrender and allow, something greater than your ego to take care of it. And she goes, "What do you mean my ego?" And I said, we get so identified that we think everything is our fault, right? And that was one of the hidden beliefs that she had, is that it must be my fault
Mm.
that I, raised this family that way, that's why they're choosing the addictions. And I'm like, do you really believe that to be
We're
true?
taught
Right?
that, right?
We're
We
taught
are
that
taught that.
over responsibility. And I said, whether that's true or not true, really, how does that make you feel in your body? Like, is that
Mm.
really true? And when you believe that thought, how do you behave? What happens? How does it unfold? And, she was like, well, I don't breathe. I tense up my muscles. I react. And I said, maybe that's the neck pain that you've got. It's like, really. And I mean, I'm laughing in the way of, I can relate myself. I get
Right.
caught in stinking thinking. I get caught in a belief system that literally controls me. And I have given up my free will, my sovereignty, to a stupid belief system that's not even true, that is completely managing my life for me. But the only
Mm.
way that I can let that go is I have to surrender to something greater, something more beautiful, something more loving, because I will not surrender if I don't feel safe. I will try to control and manipulate. Those are the patterns that we often do. And so I say, who shows up? So one of the things that we shared about, she said, I love my daughter, but right now I don't like her at all. And I said, well, okay, hang on. There's many different parts of us. I said, so you have this wonderful daughter. Tell me about her. And she was saying how wonderful she was and talented and creative. And those are some of her attributes, her great qualities. She goes, but I don't like her when she's drinking or when she's doing drugs. And I said, you realize that that's not her, right? She goes, what do you mean that's not her? That's the addiction. We have to
Mm.
separate this. It's like who shows up. So I could say my reactive self shows up, or I could say my playful child shows up, or my lover shows up, or my queen or king, my noble self shows up. So I have this whole inner world inside all of us. We all do. We have this whole inner world that we have many different characters. And when we are in relationship with something or someone, those characters come out to play. And you probably can remember, know this, Maren, that you are probably different with your husband than you are with a stranger, obviously. There's going to be a different quality that comes out, that you show this vulnerability, or you don't show the vulnerability. You have different attributes and different things that you let different levels of people see. And this is important. So when I say I'm in a place that I'm reacting, or I'm figuring something out, or I'm trying to control or manipulate, I always say, okay, who's showing up? I'm like, oh, that would be scared Stephanie. And
Mm.
she's about 6 right now. And she's really trying to hold everything together because she doesn't feel safe. So she's not going to show anybody that she's vulnerable, which, by the way, that's the whole Brene Brown aspect, is that you cannot have intimacy without having vulnerability. That those two go and it takes tremendous courage. And so what part of you is going to have to show up inside of you to do X, Y, or Z? You know, just a
So
good
I
question.
I think it's like we can relate to that as leaders of oftentimes we will feel nervous or scared or unprepared, or like all of a sudden we're thrown in a situation that's completely unknown,
Mhm.
and so we pull on our persona of I got this, I'm all over this, I got this, even though
Yeah.
inside that's like
You're shivering, you're shaken to death, you know?
yeah. And one
I
of the
mean, we even use those
things,
terms like, come on, Maren, put your big girl panties on, It's like,
right,
and like, yeah, but you know what? Right now, I'm in a place I've never been before, and there's a part of me that's freaked out. It's a
and
part of
we
me.
we do have this opportunity to choose who shows up. There's also how we choose it, of
Mhm.
I'm gonna slam you into those big girl panties and go do it, right?
Yeah.
Or it's the compassion of I get it that you're scared and we need to take this on right now.
Mhm.
So maybe a brief conversation, or like, hey, let's get some of the other beings that are inside on board, of like, you know what, I also need my brothers and my king and my sovereign people, and like let's get together and do this as a community, instead of like, oh my God, I have to go out there and do this all by myself, and go.
Right. And so what I'm hearing you saying too is that the willingness to be vulnerable and to not only ask for help, but also receive it.
Hmm.
So, and that's all wrapped in a big bundle called courage.
Hmm.
And to me, that is a higher leader, is someone who says, I don't know. I've not been in this place before. Or I've been in this place before and it didn't turn out so great. And I need some help because I'm defaulting back on old patterns that didn't work.
Yeah.
So to be able to ask for help and be transparent in the way of saying, I need help, to me actually elevates a leader to a whole new place.
And that, so a couple things. First of all, those are skills that you can practice. That's
Oh
not
yeah.
just like you have it or you don't. And they're also skills that are becoming more and more and more important in leadership because of what we talked about at the very beginning, like the pandemic. We don't know what's coming.
Mm-mm.
We're going to be thrown into more and more situations that are unknown. We don't know. And what worked in the past won't continue to work.
Well, and we talk about preparing physically, you
Mm.
know, prepare physically, whether that's with, you know, food and I don't know, savings, or like we tend to look at the physical realm and said, what we're inviting you to do is to prepare emotionally, mentally, and spiritually,
Mm.
which are really the deeper underpinnings that if you can prepare inwardly there, the physical will take care of itself. It really does. This
It
is what happens
does.
with healing too. It's like if you have a cut on your body, if you literally create an environment, and I'm not talking about just surfacely, but if you create an environment internally, meaning you don't pick at it, you don't worry about it, you don't keep ripping off the bandage going, oh my God, is it healed yet? And you leave it alone and you eat well and you think well and you share with somebody else, hey, look, I hurt my knee. Please, be careful of it. Don't bump into me. Like you come from that vulnerable place and you also learn from it of saying, what happened that I set myself up for that from a place of kindness and love, then you're actually preparing internally. The body will take care of itself, trust me. The body always wants to reach homeostasis. And it's exactly the same in this world, in the outer world too. But we need to surrender. Like, we don't figure out how our body is going to heal it. The body already has an innate intelligence to know how to do that. Well, so does our world. It really does have an innate intelligence to do it. But we have to let go of control. We have to let go And in order to do that, we have to trust in something greater than ourselves.
So you have an interesting take. I think it's very opposite of what I hear a lot of people talking about in today's day and age, where the world is on a collision course with disaster,
Could
which
be.
it could be. And what I hear you saying is that left left to its own devices, if
Yeah.
we weren't right, if
If
we
we weren't
weren't
such the problem,
such the problem, if we weren't
yeah,
busy, pouring crap in our oceans and et cetera, that the world actually wants to heal itself.
100%. I
Yeah.
mean, look at gardening. You're the gardener, Maren. It's like the garden knows how. When we have, there's such little. I mean, it's important, but there's such little for us to do with the one thing, the most important thing to do. And if we
So
do that one thing, or that what's ours to do, then nature takes care of itself.
it's so interesting. We are at war with weeds, right?
Right.
Like we've got
The war again, yeah,
pesticides,
the war against weeds.
The war against weeds. Weeds are nature's way of healing.
Mm,
So when a dandelion shows up in your lawn, it's because the roots of your lawn are so short that the nutrients and all of the mycelium and the stuff in the soil that makes it healthy is lacking. Dandelions have deep tap roots. So
mm.
they come to bring all of the nutrients and all of the, to get water down deeper so that the little bugs come. So like the weeds that we don't want there are actually, and this is what I was saying earlier of like when I asked Stephanie, if we got out of the way, each of the plants in nature does a job. And this is what we're saying about
Mm,
ourselves. Each
mhm.
of us is here to do our job, to show up 100% in our way, just like a dandelion does. And a dandelion is like, okay, I'm gonna set roots down right here. I don't care if you're using pesticides on your lawn. And then you go out and you spray some more.
Because what I'm really hearing you saying is those dandelions, those weeds are actually the healing remedy for the
They
lawn.
are. They are.
And instead of accepting them and being with them and finding a way and not trying to change or fix them or force them, but be present to them, then there's healing that's going to happen.
So what happens after the dandelions come, if you don't use the chemicals, is now it creates an environment. You were just talking about that for healing, the environment for healing on your skin. That's what it does in your yard. And over time, and you can help it with planting other seeds along with it, you will have wildflowers and what no, what would be a a friendly homeostasis environment for the plants and for us, because they're also the foods that are nurturing and healing to us,
So this really brings up a metaphor that I'm just totally like pinging with light here right now, because I'm thinking of individuals, myself included, when I say, oh my gosh, I can't sit still. My mind is just going like crazy.
Mm,
Like there's just so much itty bitty shitty committee going on up there that I am got my laundry list and I'm just going to distract myself with all these things to do so that I don't have to hear the crap that's going on inside myself.
mm,
Because I don't want to have to face it. I don't want to have to deal with it and da 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 da. And what I'm hearing you in the relationship with the gardens and the weeds is that perhaps that itty bitty shitty committee is actually your remedies. Not that we need to believe them, but that actually, if you are hearing them or if you're experiencing them, those doubts, those fears, that the shoulda, coulda, woulda, ought tos, it's because you have an opportunity to transform them.
they're
They're actually
adorable.
becoming your healing remedy to elevate and evolve you to a whole new thing. And in doing so, this is what I love about this is like there's a saying, again in Sufis that say, when one person goes for their dream, when one person goes for their dream, 10,000 other individuals on this planet are liberated to go for theirs. That's how we're all connected. And it's not about one person trying to make somebody else's dream happen. No, it's about you going internally and working with the weeds inside your own mindset, your own emotions, your own consciousness, and then being able to transfer them, because in doing so, that becomes the remedy for
Mm.
all others that are being held back too, as well as others are doing the same for you. I love that. It's exciting that way.
It is exciting that way. And I think of it, you know, when you said that, I was like, oh shoot, yeah, like a dandelion is a doorway to this whole other healthy way of being for our
Hmm.
planet, for our plants. And just like you said, the itty bitty shitty committee, it's a doorway for us. And it's not, as you also said, it's not that you believe it. It's that if you keep yourself so busy that you never hear it, it's like
Yeah, you never drop
pesticides.
underneath the noise,
Right.
or you identify with the noise. You
Oh,
think that that
right.
noise is me.
Is
Oh yes,
you.
that thought is me. Yeah, I'm too old. I'm too fat. I'm too tall. I'm too short. I'm too this. I'm too whatever. If we actually identify with that, and see, that's what was happening with my client that I was working with. She was believing that it was her fault that her
Mm,
children and her grandchildren were suffering. And it's like, when you believe that, it's got you. It literally holds your freedom. You're not free. You're in prison to that thought. And so how do you change it? And one of the things I would say, it's a part, just like I said, you may not like your daughter the way she is, but that's not even your daughter. That's the addiction. You can say, I don't like the addiction. That's a part of her. It's not her. It's like saying someone who has diabetes. Oh, well, I hate them because they have diabetes. Well, why would you, no, you might say, I really don't like the diabetes that
right.
she's experiencing. That's probably more true, but you're separating it. And I'm saying this because if you try this on, if you say, it's too late for me, I'm too old, or I'll never have enough, or I'm unlovable, you literally just threw the baby out with the bathwater. There is no space. So I would say, how does that belief make you feel? And then if you can change, you rewire it to say, a part of me feels unlovable,
Right.
or a part of me feels like I'm too old to ever, whatever. Then it creates some space. And I think this is a real key in the way of healing or leading or being able to show up responsiveness rather than reactivity. Because when we don't have a space, then we react. And that space isn't somebody else giving you the space, that's you giving your own space inside.
And this is what you were talking about earlier of who shows up. If
Exactly.
you don't have the space to stand back, then you go into the reaction mode. And that's not you showing up, that's a reaction showing up. And so
Yeah.
starting to build in that like we said earlier, it is a practice. You actually have to practice separating yourself from the reactions
Hmm.
and separating yourself so that you can eventually look at it and say, is that even mine to do? Because we just automatically go into like, I'll fix it, I'll force it, I'll do whatever it takes. And maybe it's not even
Uh-huh.
yours to do.
Right. We become willful instead of willing.
Mm,
And there's a big difference. It's like that old saying of "Thy will be done," and we talked about this. You and I've talked about this before. It's like how easy it is. Oh, if it's meant to be, it's meant to be,
mm,
and we just kind of do it, kind of like passively. But if it's meant to be, it requires a practice of willingness to surrender and to build a presence to something greater than yourself to take it over. And it's not just about ignoring it. Like I have so many people who are trying to get pregnant, for example, and they're willful. They're willful. I will get pregnant. I will make this happen. I will do everything I possibly can. I will, and that's the passion and the love. That's great. And I often say, go have fun, enjoy, be willing to be pregnant, but allow
mm.
it to happen in the right time, because the minute you try to force or anything like this, it's just exhausting you. you basically are not free. You're basically cultivating even more itty bitty shitty committee,
Right.
which is creating an environment, like we said about the weeds, or we say about the mines. Now it's creating toxins. Now it's creating a pesticide
Right.
for it to be receptive. And it's like, you don't want to be doing that. It's like, so what is the practice? How do we do that? I mean, part of
And
it is
again,
saying
who do
parts,
you want to be?
right?
Do you want to be the willful person? I will make this happen. Or the
Mhm.
willing person? I'm willing to allow it to happen. It will happen in its right time. And in the meantime, I'm going to have fun. I mean, come on, right? Having fun making that happen. That would be a good thing to do.
Well, and where is your focus, right? Put your focus on something that nourishes you.
Mm,
Like you can either look at the dandelions on your lawn as evil, evil little critters, or you go, look at them, they're beautiful.
right.
Or even in the mind, I see this when people say, oh, I can't meditate. My mind is just so crazy. I can't make it still. That's why you meditate, so that you
Right.
now can create some space so that you can choose what is me and what isn't.
It's a
So
powerful
it's
practice.
a powerful practice in the way of saying, now you get to see those the itty bitty shitty committee saying, wow, the itty bitty shitty committee would not show up unless I'm ready to evolve to the next level. I must be graduating. I must be moving towards something even more beautiful that I have not experienced yet. It's a different way of looking at them.
It is.
It's a shift.
It is. And when you shift in that way, you'll start to be able to shift when you first wake up and you've got your to-do list. You'll be able to start shifting that and start asking that question, is it mine to do? Is it
Yeah.
even mine to do? And is this feeding my soul, or is this an avoidance tactic so I don't even have to
Oh,
look at my soul?
that's a brilliant question.
You know?
Yeah. Because when we think of responsibility, it's the ability, that's a skill, ability to respond.
Yeah.
That's what a responsibility means. And so if you are reacting, it's just happening habitually out of old ways of being. That's not responsive. That's explosive. And it's either going to hurt you internally, with inflammation and illness and injury, or it's going to accidentally create like a tidal wave in the outer world, which is going to upset everything, which again, there's no definitive right, wrong, good, bad. It happens. It happens. But if you can catch it, it happens. And if you can catch yourself in and go, oops, maybe that wasn't so kind. Maybe there was another way I could have done that. And is that something that I was doing because I was coming from fear? Or was it because something was calling me
Mm.
to do it, to be it? So just to give yourself some space to reflect, what is mine to do?
Yeah. I love that word calling, because it will feel like a calling.
Yeah, because I think, when we don't give ourselves time and space, we unconsciously tell others we're not worth giving time and space to, by the way.
Mm.
But if we can start to cultivate slowing down enough and going time and space within ourselves and to ask questions, and then just having spaciousness to not figure it out, but to be present to what is wanting to happen, you're going to navigate your life with a lot more guidance, a lot more gentleness than the chaotic hot mess that it can be. And I'll tell you, we can be addicted to the chaotic hot mess very easily, because it gives us lots of stuff to talk about. I mean, I'm not lecturing anybody. I'm actually admitting my own chaotic hot messness here of where I've lived in my own life. That's why I'm laughing, because it's like, yeah, yeah. I can go back and look at the parts of myself that created the chaotic hot messes because I was scared to feel what was really going on. I was scared to feel vulnerable. I was scared to feel out of control because the patterns in my life had never really allowed myself to build the ability to practice surrender and willingness into something greater. And so that's been the benefit and the value of learning some really good skills and practices to go, okay, how do I do this? And I know why it's important, because I need to have the willingness to change my old paradigm if I want to move into a prepared future that is really unknown.
I think that's such an important distinction. Thank you. And thank you all for joining us. This is a passionate version of the Soulful Leader podcast today, which we both were kind of in it and excited. So I look forward to hearing your feedback and where you are passionate and feeling called in your life. Please let us know either on our Facebook page at The Soulful Leader, our LinkedIn page, The Soulful Leader, and you can also find us on YouTube at The Soulful Leader. And we will talk to you all next week on the Soulful Leader podcast.
And that wraps up another episode of the Soulful Leader podcast with your hosts, Stephanie Allen
and Maren Oslack. Thank you for listening. If you'd like to dive deeper, head over to our website at thesoulfulleaderpodcast.com.
Until next time.